In today's video, I'm going to be going over the Week 18 Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Carolina Panthers matchup. I have another one of these videos on the way for the Ravens versus the Steelers, so stay tuned for that. But let's first just look into the playoff implications of this game. For the Buccaneers, this is a true win or go home. If they lose, then they're out of the playoffs. The Panthers can still clinch if they end up losing this game, and the Falcons beat the Saints. If the Panthers make the playoffs, this would be the first time since 2017. And the Buccaneers made it in 2024. Historically, these two have been almost even. The Panthers had 26 wins, and the Buccaneers have 24. But recently, it's been almost all Buccaneers. They've won their last 11 out of 14 matchups versus one another. But that can't be said about their most recent matchup, which happened about 2 weeks ago, where the Panthers won 23-20. If the Panthers are to win on Saturday, this is going to be their first sweep since 2017 versus the Buccaneers. But let's take a deeper look into these stats of the last game. So first, looking at the passing stats, Baker threw for 145 yards. He had 1 touchdown and 1 interception, and threw for 18 out of 26. He finished with a rating of 79.8. And in comparison to Bryce Young, he threw for 191 yards, 2 touchdowns on 0 interceptions. He threw for 21 out of 32 and had a rating of 102.5. The Panthers had the clear upper hand in the passing in this game, where rookie Tedero McMillan was the #1 receiver in this game. He's easily became Bryce Young's favorite target, and he finished with 73 yards and 6 catches, and he scored in this 22-yard touchdown. The leading receiver on the Buccaneers was surprisingly rookie Emeka Egbuka, who only had 1 reception, but it was for 40 yards. He's really cooled off since the start of the season, but same with Baker Mayfield because he was in MVP talks and now he's fighting for a playoff spot. Where the Buccaneers had an upper hand in this game, it was in the rushing. The Buccaneers had 169 rushing yards, and the Panthers had 101. The Buccaneers' leading rusher was Bucky Irving. He had 71 yards on 19 carries. He was averaging 3.7 yards per carry, but what really almost bit the Panthers was not being able to contain Baker Mayfield. He had 49 yards on 4 carries and was averaging 12.2 yards per carry. Rachaad White also had a good outing. He had 45 yards on 5 carries and was averaging 9 yards per carry. Now over to the Panthers side of the ball, their leading rusher was Rico Dowdle. He had 29 yards on 9 carries and was averaging 3.2 yards per carry. Chuba Hubbard was also getting involved. He had 27 yards on 6 carries and was averaging 4.5 yards per carry. The Panthers' backfield, as the season has progressed, has turned more into a split, but both Rico and Chuba's attempts this game combined are less than what Bucky got. Looking at the overall game stats, the Buccaneers had more yards on the game. They had 296 compared to the Panthers' 275, but the Panthers averaged 5.1 yards per play compared to the Buccaneers' 4.9. But this game ultimately ended with a Baker Mayfield interception, and currently Baker has an interception in 4 consecutive games. This season, the Buccaneers have a record of 0-8 in games in which Baker throws an interception in, and a record of 7-1 in games where he does not throw an interception. So if the Buccaneers want a chance to win this game, they're going to need to protect the ball. And now I'm going to go over some overall team stats, first starting with the Bucs. They averaged 22.8 points per game, which is 18th in the NFL. They averaged 319 yards per game, which is 22nd. They averaged 5.1 yards per play, which is 24th in the NFL. Their red zone scoring is 55.32, which is 21st in the NFL, and their TDs per game is 2.5, which is 18th. Their rush play percentage is 42.91, which is 19th in the NFL. Their rush yards per game is 112.9, which is 21st in the NFL, and their pass percentage is 57.09, which is 14th in the NFL, and their passing yards per game is 206.4, which is 20th in the NFL. Now over to the defensive side of things, they have 37 sacks on the season, 12 interceptions, 8 fumbles, 11 forced fumbles, 2 defensive TDs, and 1 safety. And now let's take a look at the Panthers. They have 18.6 points per game, which is 27th in the NFL. They average 296.3 yards per game, which is 27th in the NFL. Their yards per play is 4.9, which is 27th in the NFL. Their red zone scoring is 51.16, which is 26th in the NFL. Their TDs per game is 2.1, which is 27th in the NFL. Their rush play percentage is 46.47, which is 9th in the NFL. Their rush yards per game is 122.4, which is 11th in the NFL. Their pass play percentage is 53.53, which is 24th in the NFL. Their passing yards per game is 173.9, which is 27th in the NFL. Now over to the defensive side of things for the Panthers. This season they have 28 sacks, 14 interceptions, 6 fumbles, 7 forced fumbles, 2 defensive TDs, and 0 safeties. But now let's go look at the betting odds. This game is in favor of the Buccaneers. The spread is Buccaneers minus 2.5 or minus 3, but there has been some movement in the line in some cases, with the Buccaneers moving from a minus 3 to a 2.5. The money line is Buccaneers minus 150 to 165, and the Panthers plus 130 to plus 140. And the total over-under for this game is around 43.5 points. But here are my key takeaways for the game, starting with the Bucs. If the Bucs want to win, Baker needs to not turn over the ball. He also should be getting all the receivers involved. That wide receiver core is one of the most talented in the entire NFL. and he needs to give his playmakers a chance. Baker also needs to use his legs when possible, and if the running game isn't working for the Bucs, just don't keep using it. This Buccaneers team has way more playoff experience, and they're playing at home for their season. I think this game will show a lot about Baker. Is he truly the quarterback you want for your future? Or is he just a placeholder for what's to come? Now over to the Panthers side of things. Bryce also needs to be smart with the ball and give the ball to his number one playmaker, Teteroa McMillan. This kid is so young, and this is the perfect game to encapsulate what the future could be. The Panthers need to focus on containing Baker, have him be uncomfortable, make him throw interceptions. If the Panthers win, in my opinion, a gritty win is the most likely outcome, but that's exactly what this team should want if they want to make it to the playoffs and have some energy around them. And that takes us to the final part of the video, which is my prediction. This is really hard because neither of these teams are fantastic, but one of them is going to make the playoffs. But my gut is telling me to go with the experience, so I'm going to pick the Buccaneers 24-21. It's really hard to say that just because the Buccaneers look so good after starting 5-1 and they really have collapsed since. But I think this is going to be a really close game. I'm really looking forward to it, and I want to hear your guys' predictions down below. I think it would be really funny if the Buccaneers ended up winning this game, and then the Falcons go and beat the Saints, and then the Panthers make the playoffs. But yeah, that wraps up the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for that Ravens vs. Steelers preview as well. And yeah, see ya.